Excellent.
So good afternoon or good morning, depending where you are, or good evening if you are joining us somewhere from Europe. I have the chance here to be with Mitch, the general manager of the Reid Creek Lodge in Wyoming. So Mitch, show us your beautiful treasure and secret gem.
Thank you very much, Dominique. Yes, hi, my name is Mitch. I'm going to go through my presentation here, and then hopefully we'll have some time at the end. I can answer any questions that might come up. Whoops, sorry, everyone.
Oh, no, it's perfect.
Okay, let me go back here. So my name is Mitch McElwain, and I'm with Reid Creek Lodge, obviously. I can't figure out how to go back now on my PowerPoint, and so I'm a little bit thrown off. There we go. This is Reid Creek Lodge, and it is an 8,000 square foot, 7 bedroom. All our bedrooms are en suite guest lodge. We're a buyout only property. We're open June, July, and August. Um, really, those dates are kind of first come, first serve until we are filled up. The best way to get to us, there are 3 ways. Denver is 3.5 hours south of us. You can fly direct into Denver. You could change planes in either Salt Lake City or Denver and fly to Casper. That's an hour and 40-minute drive. Or you could fly private into the local airport in Douglas, and that's going to be a 40-minute drive from the lodge. And for Dominique DeBay preferred advisors, in addition to some other benefits, we also do our airport transfers from Casper and Douglas complimentary. So I can't really tell the story about Reid Creek Lodge without first talking about Wagon Hound Land and Livestock. Wagon Hound Land and Livestock is a commercial cattle ranch. That is what we do. We raise these beauties right here, Red Angus cattle. We raise a lot of them. We also raise our own breed of American quarter horses. And our breed of quarter horse is truly spectacular in kind of the showing world in a couple different areas. But also we raise them for our cowboys to use to work these cattle. And then they also provide for an absolutely fantastic guest horse. So I'm going to get into that just a little bit later. We have a farming operation that supports all of the feed for all of our livestock, our cattle out on the ranch, the cattle down at the feedlot, and of course our horses. And then we have an outfitting division that manages the wildlife on the ranch. So Wagon Hound was started in 1999 by a man who came from ranchers, a cowboy named Art Nicholas. This is his grandfather. That's his father there drinking out of that mason jar. Art did not come from money. He grew up as a cowboy, working cattle, and he joined the Navy after he graduated high school. And out in California, he found his way into finance and became incredibly successful. And as soon as he could, he bought his own ranch and got back into the ranching way of life. He bought the original piece of Wagon Hound, which is a historic Wyoming ranch. It was 13,000 acres. He bought that in 1999. And over the last 25 years and 140 some odd real estate transactions, Wagon Hound Land and Livestock encompasses over 330,000 acres. That's over 500 square miles, or half the size of the state of Rhode Island. So it's quite an accomplishment. This it illustrates that our land is dotted with the remnants of the transcontinental migration. The Oregon Trail is marked and runs right near one of the entrances to the ranch. And so we find these old buildings all across our ranch from loggers, from old cattle camps up in the mountains. This so happens to be a one-room schoolhouse that some of my very own ancestors went to school here about 150 years ago. And this is me and my brother. We both work for Wagon Hound, and we both grew up in the town of Douglas. And so we we know this land inside and out, and we love it from the bottom of our hearts. So back to Reid Creek Lodge. What we want when our guests arrive. Actually, let me back up. I forgot to mention our capacities when I was going through our bedrooms. So as I mentioned, we have 7 bedrooms. All of them are en suite. I have 13 beds in the lodge, and you don't really need to know that number, but my maximum guest count is 22. And a majority of that 22 guest count needs to be children. And then we can do an all adult group of up to 14, which is really a function of those 7 bedrooms. And while guests are here with us, while these groups, private only, 1 group at a time, no matter the size, we want them to experience 4 things. We want them to experience the privacy of being the only guests on our ranch in a pretty remote state. It's the least populated state in the nation, and so there's a lot of room. It provides a different dynamic, a different spirit, a different energy than you get at other places. So that privacy is something that we lean on. What we also want to provide is an authentic experience. So I'm able to go in a little bit more detail on these webinars than I was in our roadshow presentation. So I'm going to take just a little bit more time to dive in. But we don't like to consider ourselves a dude ranch. And what differentiates us from a dude ranch is really the performative aspects of ranching for guests. And I'm not saying, you know, we respect and value dude ranches. The Dude Ranchers Association has a wonderful component in Wyoming. Plenty of opportunities for dude ranching if you have clients that want to get on a horse and go work cattle. They want to scoop poop out of a horse stall. They want to pitch hay, that sort of stuff. The dude ranches are going to provide that. Our authentic experience is we're a working commercial cattle ranch. And so there are cowboys that work our cattle, and we are in and amongst and around them. We are inside of an actual cattle operation. And while we may not be driving cattle or branding or, roping, we can certainly get you very close to those things. We can rope in the arena on the roping dummies. We can rope in the yard, as you'll see here in a minute on the on our roping dummy there. And we're going to be out on horseback exploring nature. We like to view ourselves more of a nature lodge, and certainly not a dude ranch. So the authentism that we want to provide is we want to take care of our guests in a way that they feel like this lodge is their home for the amount of time that they're there, and the staff that we staff it with, which is myself and 9 other people, are providing a highly personalized level of service that is as involved or not involved as the guests want. We want folks to connect. We want them to connect here. We want them to connect with the landscape. We want them to connect with each other, the folks that they come with, and we want them to connect with themselves. And we provide a really, really wonderful place and program to do that. And the last thing before I kind of get into the lodge is the flexibility. And Dominique was kind of going through that just before we started recording here. Our ability to be flexible in the itinerary is one of our biggest value propositions. When you're, let's say, at our maximum capacity or very close to it with a multi-generational family of, we'll just say hypothetically 20 people. I'm sure many of you have dealt with large groups of people, and you can attest to this. Of those 20 people, you're maybe going to get 8 that really want to do whatever it is that is on the schedule. And then the rest of the folks, you're going to have a mixture of some folks that are maybe a little tepid about it, and some folks that really don't want to do it. Well, we never want anyone to feel like they're stranded here at the lodge if they don't participate in an activity. So we'll take an itinerary group out, and whoever wants to hang back will be provided another guided activity They're more than welcome to hang out in the lodge, but no one is left alone. No one has to feel like they're being left out. And if someone wakes up in the morning and last night they really wanted to, they really wanted to go on the horseback ride, but this morning they don't, for one reason or another, well, we can certainly move that horseback ride. We can provide another one. And all of these changes, they're covered in the nightly rate. So at the end of a stay, your guests, or I'm sorry, our guests, your clients, which could probably certainly afford anything that they want. But something that's very irritating is receiving a bill and you have dozens and dozens of charges for extra things that weren't disclosed at the beginning. And so we really try to eliminate that so everything's as straightforward as possible. And the only things our guests need to focus on when they're here is just having a good time, just connecting, just really having the experience that they want to have. So enough of that. Here's some pictures of the lodge. Really nice, comfortable place to come and relax when you're not out adventuring. Some of my guests just are not adventurous. And we always are providing them snacks and drinks and beverages, plenty of places to play a card game, sit and read a book. It's all climate controlled in the lodge. Our fireplaces are really for show. They're gas fireplaces. So, I mean, as warm or as cool as you want it. Have some snacks. The kids can take a nap on that couch, watch some Netflix on the big screen TV while the adults are out adventuring. But really, adventure begins immediately outside the door of the lodge. These hills are just to the east of the lodge. The sun's going to rise just behind them, and they're very accessible. Anyone in any sort of princess attire can get to the top of this little ridge here and really feel like they're being wild, because there's no trails up this. It's not the 4-foot wide trail. You just hike where you want to hike. And if you want to go with a guide to kind of clear the path in front of you, we'll make that happen. We want everyone to feel safe and happy and comfortable. You don't have to leave the lawn, though. As I mentioned, we got the roping dummy. What's actually happening here in this picture is we're kind of in between activities. We've just had lunch and we're gearing up to go out fishing. Everyone's kind of getting their clothes changed and getting their water gear on. You can see the kids some of the boys are in their swim trunks, and to pass the time, we got them roping on that roping dummy. My two guides had showed them earlier in the week kind of how to throw the lasso, what to look for, and so every opportunity they got, they went out and did that. This is, of course, Dominique with my chef, Nancy. Nancy runs our food and beverage program and is just an incredible person and a wonderful personality to have in the lodge and around the kids cooking the meals. She does a lot of really great stuff. It's all, what we like to call it is upscale, authentic Western cuisine. So are we going to have beluga caviar on the menu? Probably not. Unless it's requested, we can certainly bring in whatever. But we're going to have Nancy's sourdough bread. We're going to have roasted chicken. We're going to, of course, have some beef. But if we've got folks who have dietary restrictions, she's going to make a vegan meal. And it's going to be as bountiful and beautiful as the presentation of what everyone else is going to get. We really want every single guest to make sure that every single guest feels like this experience is for them. Have a cocktail, play some games before dinner, pool, dominoes, chess. This is breakfast. Breakfast is going to be cooked by our breakfast chef, Mike. Another great guy, great personality to have around. And this illustrates even further our flexibility. If you sleep in past our itinerary breakfast time, and you come downstairs and you still want breakfast, we're going to make you breakfast. You're going to get it. You're not going to miss out. If you sleep till noon, we're going to just give you lunch. But we can probably whip you up pancakes and eggs if that's what you're really hankering for. The kitchen's right in the lodge where everyone's staying, and so we can kind of make these requests happen. Fishing is one of our easiest activities to just go out and jump into at any time in really any group size. We can make it happen. This is Windy Reservoir, one of the most peaceful places on the property. You step out of the truck, we turn all the motors off, and you just inhale and exhale this beautiful breath and realize that you're in the middle of nowhere, and the peace is, for some it's almost deafening, but for others it is incredibly restorative. You can swim, you can paddleboard, and then we've got our beautiful quarter horses. So this is our arena where if we do have a group that is interested in horseback riding, we start out here. So this place is enormous. There are very few indoor arenas on planet Earth that are this big. And the architecture is incredible. So if horses aren't your thing, looking at this cool building on the inside and what we have is almost as interesting. We have the tack room in there. You can go out, you can maybe see our yearlings, or maybe we're looking at our foals that are being born right now. We can stop at Saddleback Reservoir on our way back. Maybe we'll do some s'mores. We'll wake up the next day and we'll ride out a Reid Creek barn. And you'll notice here in this picture that I don't have those national park or guest ranch trails that are 4 feet wide and flat as a board. That's because my guest horses grew up on this ranch, working cattle in these hills. Each cowboy, we have about 10 full-time cowboys. Each cowboy gets a string of about 12 horses. Of those horses, those cowboys will, they'll need a horse to put their daughter on, their pregnant wife, their girlfriend, their mother, someone that doesn't have a lot of horseback riding experience will come out and visit, and they'll need a horse to put them on. And so these horses start to learn what it's like to take care of an inexperienced rider, or to be very gentle and very safe. And then when they're good and trained, I get to peel them off of those strings and use them for my guests, which gives me just an incredibly wonderful horse to ride for the guests. Unlike any other guest horse, I really think on the planet. They're very special. And the horses love it. They love being out here. I know this picture is kind of hard to see, but all 3 of those horses have smiles on their faces. They love doing their job. We do remote meals. This happens to be up at Spring Creek Tent Camp. We go on hikes. Hikes are like our trail rides. You just pick a spot. These folks said to me, "Hey, Mitch, we want to climb to the top of that peak over there," and we made it happen. Little kids get to be little kids. These girls were very independent, and they wanted to take the rowboat out. We checked with their parents first, and they said go ahead, and so we sent them off. And they did great. They loved every minute of it. I had to go rescue them because all they could do was paddle in a circle, but they did it, and they were very proud of themselves, and it was just a really fun moment for everyone. Everyone likes catching fish, of course. Again, if horses aren't your thing, I've got other ways to get around the ranch. These are our side-by-sides. We can go in an open top drive, or I've got a cab on that other one. You can hop on some e-bikes, another great way to get around the ranch. It's quiet. You're able to maintain the sounds of the environment around you. Maybe I'll give you some GPS coordinates and you'll ride out to a picnic lunch we've placed. And if you miss it, maybe you'll go hungry and you have to come back and drink your cocktail dinner. So we've got a resident elk herd on the ranch. Every year the bulls grow these antlers and then they fall off and they litter the ground. Becomes a shed horn hunt. Becomes a shed horn hunt. And it's a really fun activity. It's like a giant Easter egg hunt. Get out, walk around, find these antlers and kind of show them off. This is Dominique shooting the 6-shooter at our rifle range. We have archery. I also have a shotgun course where we shoot sporting clays as well. And there is always wildlife on the ranch. and beautiful vistas, beautiful wildflowers, as I mentioned, and red cows everywhere. So for the last night that our guests are here, no matter how long they stay, what we like to do is kind of turn up the elegance on the very last night. We've had sort of a rough and tumble, relatively speaking. We're out getting dusty, we're getting sweaty, we're just kind of having a wild experience. And the last night we're here, we go over to the headquarters lodge. Down at the headquarters lodge, we're greeted by our team, Moose and Mango, in this red wagon, or maybe one of our other wagons. If the group is a little bit smaller, we can hook up. I've got 4 other wagons that we can hook up to kind of match the theme or the feel of the group. We'll ride down to the picnic shelter. This is Creekside. We'll play horseshoes. We'll have cocktails, appetizers, and then we'll come back to the inside of to the headquarters lodge, which is both museum and entertainment center. There's Dominique on the mechanical bull and shooting some basketballs. We've got a full game room in addition to that mechanical bull. You can see here's Dominique shooting again. You get a gun in this woman's hand, man, and she loves it. It's crazy. No, I just kidding. And then after that night, we'll drive back to Reid Creek Lodge, and I love this shot because it's not altered. This is what the night sky looks like at Reid Creek Lodge, and actually, I'll say that every single one of these pictures are beautiful, but there has not been. We've had hundreds, maybe even thousands of professional images taken of the property here, and not one of them does it justice. When you're here, it's something special to see, but this night sky is absolutely beautiful. You can see the Milky Way kind of over here on the left side of the lodge. Many of my guests are seeing that for the very first time. So night sky viewing is something that we always encourage. I have merch. You can ride for the brand. Riding for the brand is kind of a Code of the West thing. If you're a cowboy and you're with an outfit, you ride for the brand. So we give the guests an opportunity to ride for our brand. And here's a beautiful sunset. And that is the end of this presentation.
Thank you very much, Mitch. It reminds me of my beautiful trip. We did a wonderful fun trip. I was not the only one to shoot.
That's true.
We don't shoot on animals, so that was okay. The lodge is amazing. I mean, not only the lodge where the clans are going to stay, but your secret lodge, the wagon hunt for the ranch with all the games is incredible. You only show few, because you have much more. We didn't want to go. I remember we had supposed to have an activity, but then you told us, you show us all these rooms with all these games, and we were all wanting to try them, and that's fascinating, really.
It's true.
I don't know if we have any question, but I think there was so much details that might not be too much. I think the highlight is you have no minimum stay as well.
Yes, that is it. Thank you, Dominique. No minimum stay, good. No maximum stay.
Well, I think I drove the 3 hours and a half from Denver. It was very easy. But I think Casper, it's also closer, of course. And then you have Douglas, if people are coming on a private plane. I see 2 questions. Lisa, great presentation. What is the average nightly rate?
So we have 1 nightly rate each season. This year, it's $16,000 per night. And that is all inclusive up to the maximum guests. Next year, in 2025, our rates will be $17,000 a night.
So everything included, the alcohol, the food, the lodging somewhere. I find, because you have a camp as well, so people can switch, don't sleep all the nights at the lodge, but go there, the picnic, everything, and all the activities are included, and all setup you're going to do. And so Caroline was also asking for the pricing. And so one price for up to 22 guests.
Oh, yes. What number of days would you recommend to have the full experience? So I recommend no less than 3 nights with us. That is going to allow us to really hit the highlights of what folks want. An ideal stay is 5 nights. Most of our guests are booking 4 to 6 nights, and having a great time.
You actually, maybe you can send that in the follow-up. You have a lovely little 5 days activity.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
which of course all inclusive. So I think really when people would compare what they would spend somewhere else, maybe in for a 3-bedroom, for the number, for not even that number of people, your price I found very competitive as well. And I know the food was exquisite. You wake up or you have the smell of the bread. It was tough sometimes, even if the lunch looked fabulous, but the warm bread with the olive oil, and then, well, why not? We still have to eat what's on the buffet. That is also amazing, but was conflicting. I know.
Linda, there there is no swimming pool. We swim in our reservoirs.
Yeah, I
Um,
did.
but you're also the very first group of people I'm telling this to. We're installing an 8-person hot tub right now at the lodge. So we will have a hot tub out there this season.
Yeah, and you can regulate the temperature if you
Certainly.
want it a little cooler and have a mini pool or like plunge pool type.
Certainly.
Which is great. All right, I see another question. Oh, Linda said very nice. Thank you. Any other question, or Mitch, do you have? I think we have one more.
Average temperature. So we really, in Wyoming, summer is our mildest time of our most consistent time of the year, in terms of temperature, but it really can range. And so, my whole life, there has been several times that it has snowed in the summertime here in Wyoming. Sometimes it is a lot, sometimes it's a very little. That is a very rare occurrence. But sometimes we see nightly lows of 40, and then throughout this, and that's about the lowest that we're going to see throughout the year. It could drop 38, something like that. It rarely freezes. But then your highs, as we get kind of later on into July and August, last year we had a 5-day period where we had 100-degree days, and that was the hottest it got throughout the year, and the most unpleasant time. So we're really, most of our days, June, July, and August, we're seeing right around 80 to 92 degrees.
Yeah, I think that's what we have, something. It was moderate when we were there. It was warm, but not. It was great. It was summer. I was there in August last year.
Yeah, yeah, and
and splash the lake. We were going to the lake, whatever it's paddle boarding or canoeing or swimming, so you can refresh yourself. And yeah. So
Maria, so I would suggest Denver or Casper. The Cody Airport is, I don't typically use that airport myself, so I can't give an exact, but Cody is about 5 hours from Douglas. Same thing with the western side of the state. So Jackson, those areas, that's going to be 7, 8, 9, or more.
all right, and Diane, you said excellent presentation. Thank you, Diane. All right, so anything else, and any other question? So Mitch, would you like to do the closing? And
Sure. Thank you so much for coming, all of you. And for those that have stayed the entire time, I really appreciate it. I know I can ramble, but I tried to make this as information dense as I can. If you have any other questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I will be emailing a follow-up with our rate sheet for this year, which can be passed on to clients, so you can see the number of bedrooms and the inclusions and exclusions and all of that. So
little 5 days program as well, huh?
yes.
Erin said, cannot wait to come to visit. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Erin. Yeah, no, you did perfectly. Our webinar are like 30 minutes and you start at 2:05. So you did 19 minutes. So, bravo. Yes, no, 29 minutes.
20. There you go. Good.
All right. Thank you very much, Mitch. And see you soon. Caroline, thank you for the presentation. Good place to know indeed. And with a GM like this, you know you're in good hands. Huh? Voilà.
Thanks, Dominique. Thank you.
Thank you, Laure. Thank you for it's a great presentation. Bye, everybody.